What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down, what is really moving it, and what the market just gave as a huge green light for stocks to really move higher. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is up 0.96%, 929 the low, 997 the high. So you did have a very nice push higher. A couple different things is coming out to really boost the broader market higher. One is just kind of tensions easing from China, so between China and the States, and we did have overnight the very first step that China committed towards somewhat negotiating. So in the past, it's always been the States kind of doing all the talking and all the kind of moving of parts for the tariffs. China finally did state that they were going to potentially reduce their tariffs on some essential items. So that's kind of a baby step towards moving in the right direction. And then aside from that, what prompted this very nice push higher was this data point right here. So the Michigan consumer sentiment, the last 5 occurrences of this were all negative and prompted a very aggressive pullback in the broader market. And this is why you did have the futures somewhat negative. People were concerned over this. Came in at 52.2, so essentially still shows that the market is fearful about inflation, and inflation in fact could be coming, but the Feds already know that because of the tariffs, but forecast was 50.8. So very positive surprise, and so that's what really boosted the broader market and a lot of other stocks. So let me know your thoughts on that, just to kind of clear the air, because I've seen some posts online about this. This right here was not shorts. It was not a squeeze. In fact, shorts are pretty much laying low today. They are returning roughly around 30,000 shares right now. 30.95% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 111.04 million shares. But as you can kind of see based on this teal line, they haven't really done jack all. So they didn't cause that spike. They didn't cause the downtrend. That was legitimate institutions getting in. And you can see that based on here. So these are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market. So you saw this push higher and then the sell-off right here. So again, this is why I like to look at a lot of the data points, because it kind of gives you and paints a picture of exactly what is happening. So a lot more transactions occurring on the secondary market, and that's been in the past one concern of mine, because with a momentum stock, you need a lot of capital to get in. So the market seems to be very much really liking SoundHound, definitely going up, because even over the last 5 days, it is up a lot, so up 24.05%. But aside from that, even looking on the dark pool, you are seeing a lot of transactions, and a lot of which could be linked to shorting and just other large entities. But all in all, pretty good stuff. No news from SoundHound itself. So last news did come out on April the 23rd, and so they did book their earnings date for May the 8th. So I'll be live streaming that for those of you that are interested or want to participate in all the fun jazz. So yeah, hopefully on their earnings it should be kick-ass, and hopefully they have some good partnerships, or they allude to some good partnerships. But I think just leading into their earnings, we kind of knew it was going to be second week of May. But aside from that, even looking on social media, there hasn't really been all that much coming out from it. So we do know that recent partnership, which was kick-ass. I already did a video all about that, and how them and Tencent is going to open up so much opportunities for SoundHound. So that's definitely a good thing. But right now is just the tariffs. I think on a larger standpoint, they just need that to be reduced. Even though in theory, SoundHound technically isn't really directly affected by that, because like they are in the market to increase efficiency. So they technically aren't really affected by it, but I guess indirectly that's market's just taking it down because of consumers' buying power potentially being hit, and I guess indirectly that's how maybe the market's trying to justify that. But nonetheless, looking at options for today, 2.9 million in calls, 726,000 in puts. 55% of all the options being done today are bullish in nature. And with today being Friday, obviously it's good to look at the open interest. So you do have roughly 5,000 at that 850, 6,000 at the 9, 5,000 at the 950, and then 7,000 at that 10. So at the end of the day, close to obviously closer to the market close, if SoundHound is close to one of these strike prices, you could see shorts wake up a little bit just to try to suppress it, more specifically that 950 mark. So again, that is something that might be potentially coming down the pipeline. But aside from that, though, I think just based on this data that did come out and what we've been receiving for updates on a larger standpoint, it's pretty much the green light from the broader market to really push higher. But as far as right now with it at 949, it is trading between the R1 and the pivot. So 918 is going to be a strong support. Hasn't been tested today. Flip side, $10.67 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. But aside from that, though, there hasn't been any new analyst ratings, no forecasts for their upcoming earnings. So analysts haven't really been doing any changes to the earnings per share or a lot of the other key metrics. So I think at this stage in the game, this earnings is going to be a key one for it to really show the broader market that they are here to really shake things up and to actually make a big difference. So I think this upcoming earnings is going to be a big one. But aside from that, though, on the actual chart itself, going over some of the kind of points to watch for. So with it where it is now at 954, it is officially above the 50-day moving average, and that's sitting at $9.30. What that means for SoundHound bigger picture usually results in a nice push higher, anywhere from 30 to 40%. So ideally, in my case, I always like to look at if a stock can stay above these key levels for 2 consecutive trading days. So it is fair to assume that today it will close above that. Tomorrow, or I guess come Monday, if it is again able to close above the 50-day moving average, then anticipate a potential touch of that 100-day moving average, and that is currently sitting at $12.67. So things could get very, very real very fast. And most likely that would, as far as timing wise, might match with their upcoming earnings. So yeah, let me know your general thoughts on SoundHound. Have you been buying the dip? Have you been selling? Where do you actually see SoundHound going in the short term? And are you relatively bullish on their earnings? I think just a lot of people don't really understand what SoundHound still does truly do. They just look at their financials and just say, hey, they're burning through so much cash, they're a failing business. I think a lot of those individuals fail to really look at the multiples that are placed on tech stocks and just what SoundHound is trying to achieve. And I think even extending it a little bit further, if you're looking at a percentage basis, they are really growing very fast, especially over the last little bit. So, and little bit, I mean year and a half. So yeah, let me know your general thoughts on SoundHound. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, give yourself a shout out if you've been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with SoundHound. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point, so definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.